Right, so today I'm going to be changing the sump on my Discovery 2 TD5. The reason I'm doing it is because I was doing an oil change, oil and filter change, and my sunk bung threads came out, and yeah, obviously that's no good. So to do that, I've got it jacked up on the radius arm bushes at the back, as you can see. Basically what that allows it to do is drop the axle down to give me more clearance to get the sump out. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to loosen the rotor filter drain off pipe nuts, which are here, and that's the only thing that's actually attached to the sump itself. So I'll move out of the way, and then there's a sequence for removing all these bolts and for tying them up again, but I'll show you that in a minute. These two on the rotor filter drain off are a 10mm. I'll turn the camera on back after that. Right, obviously it's very awkward to record under here, but there's 4 bed housing bolts for the gearbox that need to come out. One there, one there, one there, and one there. They're all 13mm. It will become apparent if you do this yourself anyway, but yeah, 4 under here, 13mm. I can't really record me doing it because it's too awkward, but I'll turn the camera on after. Right, so now it's time to take the actual bolts out of the sump itself. This is a new gasket. This is the packaging it came in, and we've marked it in the sequence that you have to undo them and remove them. That's the offside, the driver's side at the rear first. Then the front offside, near side is 2, then 3, and 4, and so on. I'll have a bit of a better look at it afterwards. So I've got the sump lowered down now. Took them out in the right sequence. The rotor filter pipe drain has been took off. I'll be replacing the gasket on that. But to actually get the sump right out, it has to go backwards, down and backwards. But in order to do that, I need to take this front cross member off. And on mine there's 6 bolts, 2 at the front, 1 at the back, on both sides. I'll lower that down and turn the camera back on afterwards. Right, so the cross member bolts were very seized, so I decided to leave them alone. And it turns out if you take this ball joint out on this pano rod, it's a 19mm nut, and it just comes out. That will lower this side down, and you can actually take the sump out easy without needing to take the cross member off. Here's the old one. There's no metal filings in it or anything like that, so engine's in good nick from what I can tell. What I'm also going to be doing is I'm going to re-Loctite the oil pump sprocket bolt because they're known to come loose, and I'm going to change the O-ring on the oil pickup tube for the strainer. The oil pump sprocket bolt is a 10mm. Be careful when you take it off because the sprocket will be loose. And the pickup is a T30. Again, I can't record it because it's too awkward, but I'll show you afterwards. Right, so I've got the strainer out. There's the oil pickup. The O-ring I'm replacing is this one here. I'm just doing it because I don't want to do it all again. If it goes, there won't be any pressure there and suck oil in there. It's 3 bolts. 3 T30 bolts, they're all the same size. And then the oil pump bolt. That's the oil pump bolt, that's 10mm. It's only up to 25mm, so it should come out pretty easy. There's no Loctite on this whatsoever. Using is Loctite 242 medium strength. That's what it says to use on these. Clean it really well, brake cleaner first, otherwise the Loctite won't work properly. and then torque it down to 25. Turn the camera on after that. Right, so on to the next part. All it is from this point at the minute is the mating surface, bit of brake cleaner and Scotch Brite all the way around the mating surface, so it gets a good seal, and then it ready to put it all back together. Again, I can't record it, but yeah. So like I say, all strainers off. Going to replace the O-ring that goes here. There's the old one, it matches the new one. I'll go off with a pick. You can use a screwdriver obviously if you want. There's the part number for the new one. And the 3 bolts, here, and here, 10 Newton meters. One thing I forgot to mention is, before you put it back into the block, into your bump, lube your new seal with some oil, clean the threads on your bolts, and put some Loctite on there. Other than that, do what's it. So once you clean the mating surface on the underneath of your engine block, this is how the gasket goes. At the back, the 2 dowels should face upwards. On the other side it's flat, but you're facing upwards. These 2 lugs go into the rear crankshaft seal. And you actually need sealant for this, which is that STC 50550. That's what it comes in. You can get equivalents made by Loctite and stuff. And basically the sealant goes a line here, a line here, and then from this side of this lug to this side of this lug, just a thin bead along there, here and here. As for the bolts, the Torx ends are a little bit different. So all these ones are the same size from here to here. This is the rear of the engine, and you've got 3 that are different sizes. All the smaller ones are the same size, at 25 Newton meters. And at the back, the 3 different length ones, and one that's the same as the other ones, they're 28. When you're doing this, there is a sequence for it. I've got it marked here, but I'll show you that properly afterwards. Once you've got the sealant on there, you have only got 20 minutes to actually get it all on there and torqued up. So you've got to be a bit quick. But these bell housing bolts that go here, these 13mm ones, these ones, they don't matter, you can do them afterwards, it doesn't matter. So I'll do that and I'll turn the camera back on. So once you've got it up on there, it's simply doing the sequence. I'll show you that in a second. The rear bell housing bolts are 45 Newton meters. Like I say, do them afterwards. The centrifugal oil filter drain pipe, new gasket on there, 10 Newton meters on the nuts. And the sump drain plug is 23 Newton meters, if you was wondering. I'll show you the sequence now. Yeah, so for those of you who don't have the manual to follow like me, here's where the sealant goes, like I say, from that lug to this lug. And here, and here. You actually put it on the engine block and on the crankshaft seal here. Don't put it on the gasket, put it on the block. It only needs a very thin smear of it as well, but make sure it's fully covered. The slackening sequence for I'm doing it all, that's it there. If you want to pause it and keep that. And then to tighten it, that's the tightening sequence. After that, after all what I've shown you, it's basically just a case of filling it up with oil and trying it out.